What's going on? Boys, thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, subscribe to our Patreon free for behind the scenes stuff. Arm yourselves, life stuff. I'll be suspicious of people for tons of reasons, tons of people for tons of reasons. Of course, never the ones who are really dangerous. Those are the ones you don't detect and let right in. But I noticed I have a process for detecting some sorts of people, particularly in content, finding channels I like or sources I trust, because selecting the people you listen to, especially if these are people you are getting ideas from, not just people talking about old media or some shit, it can create a lot of problems. Alien beliefs that are designed to fuck you up. And I hate that because anytime you accept a new idea or build a new idea, that becomes the new foundation upon which you are building other ideas. And if you get a bad foundation or a bad brick in your pyramid, you stand to lose a lot internally, mentally, and emotionally, and sometimes externally. So, what are some tells regarding people you need to be suspicious of? Well, first and foremost, look at their audience. What sort of person do they attract? Looking at audiences is very important. For example, if you see lots of paper clips, the content is probably designed to attract political teenager types. Except they aren't teenagers, they're in their 40s and 50s a lot of the time. Weird shit. Mentally slavey people. Fad obsessed people. The they thems, the non binaries. The least among the noble queers. The griftables. The people who mentally are conditioned for ideological consumerism. The Walmart shoppers. Because you go and look at car channels, for example, and look at those audiences. Look at their profile pictures, look at the sorts of people. You have Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Brazilian. You see Piccolo with dreadlocks, black guy. You see flashy car parked in a shitty driveway, old guy. You don't see a lot of paper clips. You don't see a lot of non-binariness. And these people aren't liberated from herdness. My point is you need to pay attention to which herds a creator or a video person is attracting. If the content is attracting Zachary, the furry objectivist, if you aren't automatically suspicious, consider being manually suspicious. Now, the next thing you want to do is pay attention to if, but more likely how, this channel is jerking you off and what it is they are jerking off. What archetype or set of beliefs or belief system or narrative are they affirming for you? Because people aren't trying to convince other people for the most part. That's not how this operates. What you think matters a lot less than you think it does, as long as it's one of a few things that can be marketed at, or that is easy to market to. For example, you are a young go-getter, you're an outsider, you have perspective that nobody else understands, you sleep until 2 in the afternoon, you dress like shit, you stink, but the world doesn't know what it's missing with you yet. So you go to a channel that has a sculpture profile picture and a name with wisdom in it, and you watch the self-help videos. Now, what kind of self-help are they offering you? Are they offering you long-term plans that will require you to have money, that will require you to have a job, will require you to do things, especially over a long term? Probably not. They're going to offer you little tricks, or they'll focus on, or if they talk about long term, they'll talk about mindset long term. The point is, if you are to apply what they are selling, you don't actually need to do anything that matters. Nor do you really need to stick to anything. Because you'll get the results in a day or a week. You'll see an immediate difference. It's not to be believed. And I was watching a boxing video about why this boxer named Butterbean was popular, and this shitty, greasy promoter said it exactly right. People liked Butterbean because he was a fat ass who beat the shit out of people. And everybody will identify with the thing they think they could be. Now, Butterbean, I don't know a lot about boxing, but the greasy man told me he was one in a million, and I believe him. You don't see a fat ass moving like that. But Joe Dipshit sees that and likes him because he feels relatable. Genius marketing. Take something almost nobody on the planet could do and make them feel like they could do it. Right? That's what these channels do. Right? Fitness, for example. You don't need to diet. You don't need to go to a gym or buy any equipment. That's all ridiculous. All you need is determination and 100 push-ups a day, 100 squats a day, 100 sit-ups a day. That's all you need. And that's very appealing to people. Because for the 3 days they'll care about it, they don't actually need to do anything. It's a pretty idea that makes them feel good, that makes them feel like they could do it, because they don't actually have to do anything, and that's all that matters. Or another one that's gotten popular. Everybody's a fucking writer now. But if you want to succeed as a writer, what most do you need to learn? What is the most important part of writing, ironically? It's the business end. How to network, how to make contacts, how to get your shit published, what the state of publishing is. Because you can write Ulysses and it won't matter today unless you know how to get it published or know someone who knows how to get it published. The business side is the most important part. You can write, shit gets published, right? If you are a bisexual furry with a beard and you love Leninism and you hate black people and love apocalypses, that's the fusion of the two prominent genres. That's garbage. That's what gets published. Okay, but figuring out publishing is like trying to figure out how to scale the Great Wall of China as a grasshopper. Really difficult. Really confusing. Basically unfair. Both systemically unfair, but it's not really unfair because what publishes is what sells. It's capitalism. And I know we all hate capitalism. I know. But if people didn't like watching or reading, the few people who read, didn't like watching black women with penises fuck cows, anthropomorphic cows up their asses, the situation might be different, but it isn't. Because nobody reads. The only people who reads are cow fuckers. Brutal, brutal cow pill. Oh, and this is another thing about, well, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but why is writing so popular? Why do I think writing is so popular? Because as much as I dislike musicians, annoy me, visual artists annoy me, God, they're fucking obnoxious. There's at least a skill floor. You need to be somewhat talented to be able to pass as a musician or as an artist. But as a writer, anyone can write. There's no barrier for entry. That's why everybody's a writer now. No work is required. No talent is required. Anyway, you don't see people, these super popular channels talking about the most difficult side of writing, because getting there seriously at all would take work, but then actually dealing with it would take so much worse work. That's why you see these world building channels, right? Because what they give you is they give you these false directions, which is another funny thing. Oh, writing is so dicked. If you're serious about writing, you shouldn't be taking advice from anybody. Writing is a find your own way thing. But nobody likes that. People will hate that because all they want is to feel like they are artistic and unique. But they have no talent and they don't want to do any actual work. So what they'll do is they will learn all these tips and tricks from these world building channels, and then they will think up stories so deep, and they'll take all these notes, maybe some, because notes aren't that bad, but then they will sit down and maybe they'll write a page, and then they'll realize even writing shitty nothing is work, so they'll go right back to world building. The comfortable land of not doing shit, but getting to feel like you're somebody. And I explain this at length because in detecting demons, you need to pay attention to what they are selling you, or the outcome of what they're trying to get you to do or make you feel like you can do. They'll use a bunch of words, but if it comes down to you're great the way you are, or you don't actually have to do anything, that's poison. Now, on the flip side, you'll have people who will tell you you need to do things. And they tell you to do these small things, and maybe you do these small things, because they're trying to make you feel like by doing these small nothings, you are making progress towards something, and these people can lead you toward that something. It's an investment scheme. Because real life doesn't work that way 99% of the time. In real life, you can go into the most basic issue or goal with the perfect strategy, all the resources in the world, and still fuck it up or still not get what you want, because life is not fair the way we're trained to think it is. But by appealing to your fantasy that life can be that simple if you just do this set of things that you can pay them for, or that you can pay them for with your attention, you'll get what you want. In all these cases, they are selling you the fantasy that you're perfect the way you are, or with a set of skills, just doing these things, you will get something you want. And it's false. And that should be obvious. Feels obvious to me. Apparently it's not. It's all appealing to your fantasy and to your ego. Something for nothing and something without existential confusion and pain and feelings of betrayal. Instead of going specific to specific, let's get general. First, ask yourself, are these people affirming you into stagnation or existential busy work, low stakes, low investment busy work? If they are, you need to be suspicious because they are attracting you by making something that is easy seem like it's the thing you should be doing. Also, are they affirming tribal, political, or religious or cultural beliefs? Tribally accepted. If you identify as something and one of these people you never feel challenged by at all, or they're constantly fluffing you, you need to be suspicious. The next thing you need to ask is, who benefits by keeping your attention, or by keeping you, for the most part, where you are? There's this obnoxious Chinese dude who's been being pushed lately, and Americans love him I think he's named Professor Zhang. In my vernacular, his first name changes, but his last name is Jeterson. He's the new Chinese Jordan Peterson. Same archetype, fills that same role, but he does a few things, and he's my prime example for this. Why you need an info filter. He makes retards feel like suspicions they already held loosely or vaguely are true, yes, also deeper than they realized, and this guy's in on it, and he knows about it, and he's on your side, he's your buddy. He also pays lip service to free thinking, which all these people do while feeding you narratives and sentiments they want you to hold, and you're dumb enough because you feel validated, because you feel like the smart person is on your side, you will then go out and parrot this other stuff they want you parroting. And the best ones know how to make it seem like it's not a grift. Jordan Peterson had knowledge of mystical shit to an extent. That's the hook. Chinese Peterson, same deal. And attracts the same sort of person, by the way. And he does all this while pushing, obviously, a Chinese agenda, but a powerful one. And also making up a lot of shit about Americans and Chinese being similar, which is so wrong. But it's useful for China to engender positivity among dumb fucking Americans. And also, I don't know how this started happening, but lots of Americans started sucking Chinese dick over the last however many years. And also, there's a weird spiritual unpleasantness about the dude. And I don't think that's just because he's Chinese. So, who benefits from a Chinese nationalist point of view that is pro-China and also anti-America through all of these validated suspicions? Who benefits? It's not the Americans. It's not America, clearly, but also it's not Americans. Americans are being done no favors. It's China and the Chinese. This pro-China narrative gets further along, entrenches itself deeper. And it's done by making fat Americans feel like they're right and the people they don't like are bad and wrong. And also they get to feel friendly with foreigners or another nation, which is that is, maybe that's just a Western thing. I don't know what that is, but it's very potent with Americans, including the fat fucking dumb retard racist Americans, which is another reason race in America is weird. Johnny Reb today likes China for some reason, which is just goes to show that's sickening. That's really disgusting. I hate conservatives. I hate them so much. Liberals annoy me a lot. And I'm getting really sick of this they them shit. You're doing a disservice to the mystical transgender. Really sick of them. But I hate conservatives. I really hate them. Because they're Redditors who haven't realized they are Redditors yet. They have no blood. They have no soil. They have no nation. They undermine their nation any chance they get. I wish you nothing but the worst. You deserve everything you get. It's such a noble struggle waking up, eating 5 Whoppers, not brushing your teeth, and then stocking shelves. Or working at a Zaxby's. Yeah, you are definitely fighting the good fight. The Chinese are totally your pals. You see it and they don't. Oh, you are retaining your semen? Like that's some big challenge, and you're smoking weed every day? Sick, dude. You're a Christian to the extent you treat your faith like it's your pronouns? Or no, you're a neo pagan and you jerk off to weird, squinty eyed Europeans. Anyway, my point is how much are they appealing to you based on how little and for whose benefit? Is this a simple grift? 5 easy tricks that will get you results in a day so they can get views based on your doing nothing, and it's shitty but kind of innocent? Or are they pushing something like semen retention? Something a little that requires a little more investment, but not so much that you could potentially be blocked off from doing it, financially or otherwise, to get you committed so they can sell to you better and create a selling ecosystem. They built their own market. Is that what they're doing? Little less innocent. Or is this an actual psyop? Are you being lured into a community with a bunch of goodies that requires nothing of you necessarily other than your allegiance? Because that's another thing. They always love pushing communities. They lure you into these little boxes so they can build out a system of control long term. Because this is another thing about psyops. It's not one big broadcast tower. It's never like that. It's so many little whispering voices. Maybe you have a few obvious examples, less subtle broadcasting towers, but there are so many smaller vectors through which they'll use appeal, or they'll use identity, they'll use high reward, low commitment, or low barrier to entry to get you where they want you to be. And you think this doesn't matter. You think loser individuals don't matter. But they matter a lot because society is constituted of loser individuals. The objective is to keep all these losers docile losers, incompetent losers, unmotivated losers. And when I say unmotivated, I specifically mean in any high impact way. Keep what little motivation they might have focused into shit that completely doesn't matter. And they have so many different ways to try to appeal to you. Jeterson does the intellectual thing, the free thinker quotes thing. Another one that comes to mind immediately is Flesh Simulator. False Edge. Such a dangerous thinker that everybody agrees with. You need to be a lot more suspicious. Whoever you are, you're right. Whoever you dislike or feel is oppressing you, they're wrong. And what do you need to do about it? Pretty much nothing. And I guess to close out, how do you find good sources? Look for people who are not exactly trying to appeal to you. When you ask who benefits, or how the benefiter benefits, it's the people at the creator's expense, financial expense, social opinion or standing expense, safety expense, or it's the creator specifically, but not in a slaughterhouse kind of way. I try to be a good source for things. I benefit, but you're not going to catch me singing you a lullaby to benefit unless I do a separate channel that is focused around grifting, which I think about that more every day. My model for this is a channel called Civilian Rifleman. He's a newsy, preppy sort of channel, but he doesn't hesitate to piss people off in a neutral, newsy sort of way. And also, he teaches you shit that is not flashy. It's the boring stuff. But it's the stuff you need to know, but that's not exactly what sells, and that's probably why his channel isn't huge. And it's all under this umbrella of trying to ready Americans for bad situations in America. Whereas lots of these quotes prepping channels, it's political masturbating, it's fear mongering masturbating, it's gear masturbating. It's all shit designed to make you feel like you're right or to make you feel like you can buy security. It's the entire prepping space is poison, and rarely will you find gems. The only I typically I won't reference channels in any channel in a positive way. Probably dumb of me to reference this channel in a positive way, but I think Civilian Rifleman is a gem, and while you won't find many gems anywhere in anything, what you can do and what you need to do is filter out as much poison as possible. Because if you get poisoned, it takes a week to poison you, and it takes months to undo the poisoning. It's better to be suspicious. And the painful thing in the digital age is you need to be suspicious of anything that appeals to you. Anything that makes you feel like you're right, like you're safe, or like the people you dislike are bad, or that there is a clear way for you to get what you want. Anything that sounds good to you, you need to be suspicious of, because odds are good. Odds are great. Most of the time, someone other than you will benefit from the stupid coma you allow yourself to be lulled into. Is someone appealing to you in any way that could be appealing to you with the intention of profiting off you, of keeping you weak, of keeping you confused, of keeping you docile, especially of keeping you suggestible? And if they are, be careful. And this is a tangent, but I don't know what point there is in making videos like this. It feels like people who are supposed to know stuff like this will already know it, and the people who aren't will never know it. I ran a tarot spread a couple nights ago. I don't think I'll ever get to build the utopia I want to build in exactly the way I want it. But the tarot spread said, I don't understand all the sorts of people who are left floating. And also, I don't understand how powerful belief in one individual is. Which is funny because that just showed up, that same message showed up in a story about a day after that tarot spread. So maybe this is a sign. My point is, maybe there is a small utopia that could be built. It wouldn't be built on my ideas the way I see them, the way they make me feel safe. But I could be a cult leader and take advantage of this terrible fear and this floatingness, and also in this belief in an individual, and use it one day to create something that is not completely shit, which is better than what we're looking down the barrel of at the moment. So, for that reason, learn tarot. Taught you how to raise your mana capacity in, I think, the last video, or maybe a couple videos before that. Buy a gun and make as much money as you humanly can. So when the time comes, you can give it to me. Give all of it to me. And I'll build us the corporate version of Jonestown. We'll have a security company that doubles as our own little private military. We'll have educational opportunities for you and your children, every sort of job you can imagine, fast tracks for people who don't suck. So instead of having to bite and claw your way into anything, you, or at least your children, will have a clearer shot into power positions. We'll pull some Mormon shit and end up controlling at least one of the states, except we'll be less obnoxious than Mormons. Using a theological cult of personality, I will build you a fortress within which you can live not the worst life. That's the dream. For now, buy a gun, develop your magical skills, make a lot of money. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.